record.
Recording.
Recording.
Great.
And recording.
No. Great. Cool. Hello, world. Welcome to the USL show. If it pertains to living in your team stadium or, I don't know, hitting a long ball 30 yards to a guy who once proclaimed something crazy at MLS draft day, then I've got you covered. I'm your favorite cheesemonger's favorite cheesemonger. Sometimes I might be your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster, depending on who that is. Evan Valala here. Hiya, good to see you. Joined by a couple of my soccer friends this week. The waviest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area, the never-changing, the always consistent, the very Schalke-based Phil Grooms is here. Yep. Sure. I did. I did. Thank you. Some people say I look 15. Other people say what happened. There's a litany of responses. And what's great, Phil, is that this is very much a visual reference for an audio podcast. Yeah. Always the best. We do. YouTube.com/the USL show. Monday, Tuesdays, 10 o'clock Eastern-ish, somewhere in there. So, people in that can see me. But if you're listening to this downloaded, A, thank you. B, sorry, you can't see me. And let's be honest, you don't want to. Between the farmer's tan and the really short hair and the no beard kind of thing, it's fine. We'll just pass. Hey, speaking of beards, Alan Underwood's here.
Hey, how's it going?
It's well, friend. How are you?
Good. I feel like I am living in the South these days. It is 80 degrees at 7:18. There's a decent amount of humidity, and apparently we have a mosquito infestation here in San Diego. So paradise has turned into not so much, but it's another week of USL soccer, so it puts me in a good mood, allows me to take my mind off of teaching to the internets. Now I'm just talking to more people on the internets. So
sure.
More the same, but maybe a little bit more fun because I can have a beer.
Iron sharpens iron,
That is true.
Yeah. Also here, a man who last week said that he wouldn't go after his doctorate, and I do not believe that for a second. It's Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Evan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm just sad that when you announced that you're going to get your doctorate and whatever you're getting it in, that you've lied to us now.
I did not say at one point that I was after it. Going after the NBA is far enough for me.
I know that's what you said last week, but I'm just saying that I wasn't here to call you out on your BS for it. So here I am now doing it. Anyway, guys, there was news, there's games, there's potential jobs for us, which, SiriusXM, holler at me. The USL announced a couple things. Flow Sports, FLOW, I don't know if they're affiliated with the one that we hate that's domestic or not, to be fair. But Flow Sports is going to be the official carrier of many a game in the USL. In the Caribbean, which is really cool just because this has always been such a league, and I guess leagues now, with a very heavy Caribbean flair. So that's a really cool thing to see. And then obviously domestically, SiriusXM picking up a bunch of games for USL Championship League One as well, starting next year. So that's really interesting. If they're looking for anyone to do radio, I might know a couple dozen people who'd love to do it. So if anyone wants to get in touch with me, obviously the USL knows where to find me, and I'm sure they could get me in touch with the wonderful people over at SiriusXM, which, by the way, I'm a subscriber. So, yeah, you use it so often. Yeah, but really bad jokes aside, it's nice to see the USL, obviously, again, finding ways to get their product out to as many people as possible, potentially. Jason Davis, I believe, opens court on the United States of Soccer, potential future partners. See, I can already do the plugs too, so hire me. Yeah, he'll do some USL talk. Not anything like super consistent or pointed. I'm sure that'll change with the USL becoming a part of their regular scheduled programming. But yeah, I mean, he's always been very apt to talk USL, at least for 10 minutes or so at a time. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have Sirius XM in my car as well, and channel 157 on there is one of my presets, and I use it to listen to the Champions League and other matches. So if they have USL on there, there's going to be people who will listen.
Yeah. Alan, your thoughts?
I just think anything USL can do to get their brand out there in a new avenue, even if it brings in 10, 20 people at a time. I mean, I would say that this show in and of itself was one of the reasons why I got interested in the USL in general. So if, a podcast can bring in listeners and bring in lovers of USL, like someone might just stumble on it and realize that it exists. I know we had a conversation in Orange County with some people watching a game at a watch party in Orange County, and they're like, wait, we have a team in Orange County? So just that exposure really, like, even if it's a couple people at a time, like those people might be the key that unlocks a community or a sponsorship deal or something that brings in more viewers to the USL. And I think USL is having a good time right now with viewership, and this just adds another layer.
I saw it. I will take it. I will run with it. Occasional friend, occasional foe, Jeff Reuter, to me. It's not true. Tweeted on the 12th of August, about a week ago. Hey, everybody started tweeting. An average of 8 times increase in unique viewership thus far during its return to play, including a 50% increase in minutes watched per viewer, which are both increases over last year. Obviously, there is the counter of, well, people can't really go to games, so are they watching because they have to? Which, fair, but the almighty dollar speaks, and the almighty dollar really likes to see increases in engagement and things like that, especially on that wild west that we lovingly call the internet. So yeah, for your shareholders, for your board, for your ownership, for your expansion fees, all that fun stuff, if you're USL, to be able to point to that and go, hey, we've not only been able to run this tournament or this restart to play moderately successfully. Pony, a couple other people have had a couple good sort of gripes with the system. We've been able to run this thing successfully. We've done it with relatively low positive tests, and it's increased the knowledge, and the average soccer viewers, awareness of Phoenix Rising and San Diego Loyal and these teams. And then you sign your deal with Sirius XM and things like that. So yeah, I mean, more people are aware of the product this year than they were last year, than they were the year before, and the avalanche of momentum appears to be on USL's side. And to be fair, not to get all weird about it, but I wish that it would have done the same thing for NWSL before they had 2 of their best players poached by Manchester City. But here we are. And as much as USL is going to do a bit of a victory lap, I think you have to look at NWSL for being able to do it flawlessly before anybody in the men's game at any sport, any level, had an inkling of a thought to do it. So, but yes, yeah, go for it, Phil. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, almost 8, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, 10, you're close enough, whatever. Sure, sure. Hmm. Loyal.
But you lost Fresno.
Well, I mean, right. There's not 7 more markets or whatever that are magically here now, you know. Ooh, yikes. Plosives. Plosives.
Loyal and Miami FC.
There you go. Yeah, Miami. Yeah.
Check.
You back? You all right?
Only on mine. I don't think he can hear me, but I'll just keep working on it.
Oh, fun. No better podcast than a podcast where you can't hear Phil Grimm's advice.
It's even better.
I guess in other news, you have the U.S. Open Cup has officially been canceled for, which is certainly a shame because it snaps 106 consecutive year run of crowning a national champion. It was the second longest streak, trailing Northern Ireland's Irish Cup as well. And it's just kind of a shame that there won't be able to have an Open Cup this year. Or I guess in news, the 2021 Open Division qualifying was canceled as well. So any team of the 38 that qualified for this year's tournament will automatically disqualify for next year's tournament. So they're at least rolling over that, and then I bet the CONCACAF Champions League berth that would be awarded to the winner of this tournament is just going to go to Portland, and then Portland's berth that they got from the MLS is back. It's going to go. Is going to go back to what it originally was.
Wait, sorry, you cut out for a second. Did you say the second place team is getting that Open Cup spot?
Because they.
Well, originally with the Open Cup, they always have the Champions League berth. You get one.
Yeah.
MLS Cup champion gets one. The Supporter Shield gets one, and then the winner of the conference that doesn't have the Supporter Shield gets one. Currently, with the MLS is Back tournament, the winner of the Supporter Shield got that berth. But now with the Open Cup not having their berth, and it's at the discretion of U.S. Soccer to give out this next berth, I could see that going back to that opposite team in that conference.
Yeah, I could see that too. So you're not saying that was decided. I got worried for a second.
Decided, but I was more speculating and seeing what would happen with that. As it said in the press release, the Champions League berth awarded to the Open Cup champion will be determined in the future.
It's interesting because I think that's why everyone's a little upset that, now they're probably the default will be doing something like that, Ryan, and it sucks that that's the way it is for us lower league folks. Like, I know it's nearly impossible for a USL or NISA team to make it to the final and win.
And they're not ready. Like, they'd be cannon fodder.
Right. Well, I mean, as would USL teams for the most part.
Right.
For whoever the best in MLS is. I'm not saying for any MLS team, but for the best MLS has to offer.
Sure.
But I have seen, like, someone put actually, I think it was actually the Cup US, the guy who actually does all the work for the Open Cup. Not the actual Open Cup people. He put out the tournament he would have liked to have seen as a substitute for the Open Cup, which is just the winner and second place of MLS, and maybe even third and fourth place for MLS, a couple USL champions, and then a NISA champion, and a couple even USL League Two and NPSL. Basically, every champion and a couple second, third, and fourth places thrown in. It would have been a fun little tiny tournament just for the Open Cup love, right? And then we would have known. Then we would have felt represented, basically.
Like a mini American Champions League where you compile a bunch of the top teams. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would have been fun. I mean, I think people hype the MLS's back tournament, and it's like, yeah, we have one of those already. You know, it's called the Open Cup. If MLS really wanted to take that serious, I get that there's a slight difference, but people are excited about this like one game knockoff tournament thing all of a sudden with the Champions League and Europa League, and it's like, hey guys, we've been here before. We already do it. Let's just make sure that is good and exciting.
I think the problem is that there's so little money in the Open Cup, and I'm not just talking like for the winner of the cup or the MLS teams in the cup or whatever, but it's just like weird, goofy stories where it's like, I don't have time to find it. But any of the bullshit Minneapolis City went through like last year or the year before is crazy, where it's like you have to travel to the middle of nowhere and like there's not even a locker room and like all that fun stuff, where it's like even just trying to organize like the NPSL / League Two teams to like play each other is a nightmare. Because
for sure, I just think
I don't really care that. Go for it.
I just think that if people are going to be hyping this right now, it's like, all right, we have something here. Let's invest in it and make it that exciting.
Right. Like, I don't care that MLS doesn't give a shit about it, because of course they don't. Because why would you? Like, there's nothing there for you except for if you win, you get a Champions League spot, which okay. I just think the Open Cup should really focus itself on trying to make it as stress-free and as easy as possible for those semi-pro. We have a bunch of college kids for 3 months, and then they go away to college teams to field a team and not have to pay a stupid amount of money for it, and not have to travel a stupid amount of distance for it, and to have some fresh matchups. And I just, for the amount of clout that like Minneapolis City or like Greenville Triumph even have or Ford Madison, where it's like, why are they having to foot the bill for all this? And the federation's not going to care, because it's a tournament that was formed forever ago, before Sun existed, before USSF existed, and all this stuff, where they don't have any. Like, the US Open Cup could die tomorrow, almost like it did this year, and everything just kind of continues to go on like it did. So I don't think the problem is like.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was just going to say, in 2019, the winner of the Open Cup received $300,000, which per the salaries awarded to MLS players that year is the equivalent of the 267th overall player. It's basically one Sebastian Leggett from LA Galaxy given to the winner. You get $90,000 if you finish runner-up, and then if you're the highest place finisher in your division, you get $25,000, which almost doesn't even cover like any of the travel expenses. Right. I'd imagine. I'm not sure how expensive it was for New Mexico to go play Minnesota last year, but I can't imagine $25K was going to cover all of it. But I thought it was interesting what the Canadian Championship is doing for this season, since MLS's return to the regular season. It's going to feature Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto playing each other 3 times. They're going to have basically a round robin of that, and the winner of that round robin will play the winner of the CPL's Island Games in the final of the Canadian Championships.
Well, I like that.
I like it too.
So it'll be the first time. I couldn't see the figure, but it was from thecup.us that said, I think it was the first time in 5 years or so that there will be a non-MLS team in the Canadian Championship final.
No.
That's kind of surprising, to be honest, but that's interesting.
No, it's not. The way that bracket always shapes out is really gross. Like, for the amount of the Open Cup's rigged towards MLS team. Yeah. Try Canada, where there used to only be 5 professional teams.
I just think the problem with the Open Cup is it doesn't have a good advocate. You know, it is such a cool tournament. It's actually historical for once for U.S. soccer, you know, and like it could be something great. Alan, all the points you made, I was getting super excited for the possibility of it, and it's just got too many challenges this year. I got on and said this is the most exciting and historical thing that USL has no value for or has forgotten about, basically, and that's not fair. But I feel that way, you know. It's not fair because we're such a giant country, and the travel it just makes it impossible. I think in the current state of affairs, so it was the right decision, I think. But I'm just like continually every year, it is such a cool tournament, and I am continually every year frustrated by how little it's valued, and that it just doesn't have an advocate. It doesn't have someone stepping up and willing to put money into it, and it's not a capitalistic endeavor yet, and I feel like that might do it, but I don't know how. At this point,
I think Josh Hakala is that guy.
Yeah.
So
it's a nonprofit.
I think the people that run the Cup.us are the backbone of that tournament and are part of the reason why it's really interesting. Phil, I think you're right. There will never be enough money in the world to make anybody at a professional level care about it, which is fine.
I would just like throw it into the bucket full of, unfortunate U.S. soccer situations.
I will throw it into the bucket of unfortunate things that there's a lot of people that like to yell about it for a long time, only to see it never have any tangible impact on anything.
Maybe it's a St. Louis soccer guy thing.
Yeah, Phil, do you care to poke at a hornet's nest a little bit?
Oh boy, is that our pivot?
I think you brought up St. Louis.
Yeah, I assumed you were making fun of Taylor Twellman there. So
I mean, I'll always take a chance to make fun of Taylor Twellman, but
I think he has great ideas though. Yeah, I think St. Louis FC's not going to make it past 2020, and it's strange that it's not really a COVID thing. Could be a little bit, I don't know, but it's not. It's we got MLS. The strange thing is, first of all, it is that we got MLS, and now the team's gonna go bye because seemingly the MLS group doesn't care about the USL side, and that's what it looked like for a long time. We had a lot of hope that since our USL owner Jim Cavanaugh is a minority owner of MLS, that there would be a voice there, that there would be this nice smooth transition from St. Louis FC to St. Louis City SC is the name we found out the other day, and it's just not going to be that way. It seems to me like either Jim Cavanaugh doesn't have any clout in MLS, or he's just kind of rolling with the punches, which either one is fine. But I'll just close with this, that it's super sad. I'm super bummed about it. I'm having a really hard time kind of dealing with it because it's my favorite team for the last 5 years. But I think I've found out, I think I have some clues from people that it's not enough people for me to like come out and say it, but I think there's a route that is going to be taken that just makes so much sense that nothing else should have been done, to be honest. And it's a money thing, of course, and it's other things too. But that route could or could not include the academy system, which is Scott Gallagher and St. Louis FC's academy system that got third place in the U19s in the country last year. So it's a good quality academy. We all know who Josh Sargent is. If that's included, if it's not included, I'm going to be upset. And that's my new thing to really hang my hat on. That I really like that to be part of the whole system to get us going in good shape with youth and possibilities. So we announced a new GM, and he's a really cool guy. Lutz Pfannenstiel, I believe is his name. I don't know if I said it right, but he's a cool dude. He's looking to mimic, shockingly, Atlanta United and LAFC, which is a lot of money spent. I don't see St. Louis doing that, but he did mention having several homegrowns in the first year. So there's a mixed message there. We'll see what happens. But I'm crossing my fingers that we use the academy. I'll cut myself off there. It
I was
hurts
pretty
though.
bummed. Yeah, I was pretty bummed because that original graphic, it showed like this like pyramid inside of St. Louis, if you will. And it
in the
felt
arch.
very much like, hey, we're going to incorporate what has already been in existence into this MLS picture. And when you look at like Atlanta United, people are like, oh, it came out of nowhere. It's like, no, they really incorporated the
Right.
community and the things that already
Yeah.
existed and built upon it. And that's why they're so successful.
Well,
Like it was really sad to see like that not be exactly true.
so I've had two prevailing thoughts as someone that is a fan of a MLS franchise with a very, very good academy that did not show up from nowhere. If you want to look at what happens when you try to build an academy from nothing when you're already in MLS, you can look at FC Cincinnati.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. But if you would like, also as sort of not maybe in addition to that, but as a separate thing, there is very, very few markets that have been able to have a two-side built-in, essentially for free, into their system that have a very good academy. Because if people don't know his first name's Scott, right? Scott Gallagher.
Yeah.
The stuff he does, at least to other academy directors, especially with the budget that he has, is incredible. So the fact that there's an MLS franchise that's going to come in, and I am convinced that none of these people know anything about soccer. The fact that they're not going to use St. Louis FC at all, apparently, is dumb. And then the fact that they might not even use Scott Gallagher is incredible. Because they're begging, and I don't care how much money your athletic director or your sporting director wants to spend. Like, if you don't know what you're doing with that money, and you don't have an academy, it's just not going to work. And so the fact that there's these, at least a pipeline in front of you, and you're like, no, we're all right, shows me that you haven't seen the product that you're investing in 2 years, because there's teams that have tried to enter this league without academies. Again, hate to say it, Cincinnati, I guess to a lesser extent,
Minnesota United.
Minnesota United is trying to botch their academy straight to hell too.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you try to get any competitive advantage that you can? And I don't care if you don't think that St. Louis FC is going to give you, 3 guys on their roster that you can poach a year, because they're not. But like, why wouldn't you at least be like, yeah, we'll keep them around because then we can, shove our 17-year-olds down there and see what happens.
I'm looking at it also from a concern that due to the pandemic, they pushed their entry into the league back a year. So now that's going to be 3 seasons in St. Louis or 3 years in St. Louis without basically soccer of any kind. And I'm concerned what that would do to just building up fan support. One of the benefits Cincinnati, Nashville, and Sacramento will have is that they've had teams and will still have a team in the lead up to their entry into the league, and they can sustain that fan support until then. It's going to be a drop off of basically 3 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna show my band nerdy side here and say one of the rules of thumb when walking into a program that's established is you don't change anything. Like, you roll with it, and then you assess as you work through a year, and then you can make some changes incrementally. Yeah. But it's really unintelligent of somebody to think that they know better than something that's as established like St. Louis is, to walk in and just say we're just going to change everything. Like, at least take a year and like work with that relationship, and if eventually things change, then things change. But if you're going to walk into something that's as well established as a St. Louis club is, like, don't change stuff, build on what's there, like, use what you have already, because essentially now you're going to have to reinvent the wheel, and that's never a smart thing when you're taking over a successful organization.
Yeah, like, make fun of FC Cincinnati all you want. Maybe they're weak on the youth side for sure, but day one, that march to the game, it was killer. You know what I mean? And it hasn't. Yep. I think it's still great. You know,